Hello and welcome back to Just Code It. Today we're going to be taking a look at bubble charts in Plotly. To start out, we're going to do our imports. We're going to do Plotly Express as PX and then pandas. After that, we are just going to do the most basic plot that we can come up with. Let me zoom this in a bit. We'll see if that's fine. So we're going to start out with the most basic one. We're going to set fig equal to px, and bubble plots are actually just scatter plots where you change the size of them. So you're doing a scatter plot with the x and the y axis, and then we're just going to manually set the size of them. Makes a different size bubble. You don't really see the difference though that much in those. Next, we're going to alter the size and the color. To do this, we're just going to create a data frame, x, y, size, and then the color is going to be RGB values, opacity, and then group. This is the data frame that we're going to be using for the next few plots. Again, we're just going to create a figure doing px scatter, pass it the data frame, and then we start assigning the values using the data frame. So x is equal to x, y is equal to y's, size is equal to size, color is equal to group. And the color discrete sequence, we're going to use the data frame color. So we're going to grab that color and we're going to to-list it. So make it a list. Assign that to the color discrete sequence. After creating that fig, we're now going to update the marker's opacity. To illustrate this, what we're going to do here, it's probably best to take a look at the fig data object. I hate how small that prints, but here we're doing the fig data object. So we're iterating over the opacity numbers. And then from that fig, we're grabbing the data and then we're grabbing the first data. So let's just grab the first element in the list. This is what we're altering. And we're going to then go in from there and go into the markers and opacity. This is how we're accessing that data frame. Next plot that we're going to be doing is going to be altering the marker size and the color. To do this, we're going to create a data frame. This data frame is going to be made up of an object, and it's going to have x values, the y values, the size, the color, and the groups. The nice thing about doing it this way, we can then pass the scatter plot our data frame and then just assign x to x, y to y, size to size, and group to group. The only thing we have to do different is for the colors, we're going to use a discrete color sequence. So discrete colors, and pass it the list of colors. So we need to turn it from a series into a list. That's the only real tricky part there. Everything else is literally just the name of the column in the data frame. Run this, and here you can see we got the colors, we have our groups, and the sizes. A bit more interesting of a way to do this is using a color scale, so like a heat map. That's what we're going to be doing up next. Again, make a data frame, x, y, size, and then color value. And here we're going to alter it. Let's make this a bit higher. Let's go to 80. Make a figure with a scatter plot, x, y, size. Color value is set to color value. And then we're going to use a continuous scale. So essentially the discrete scale is discrete, continuous. And then we just pass in kind of what color range you want. Just run it, and now you get a continuous scale with those colors. Now we're moving on to another one where we're going to add some text to the bubbles, so have some overlay text. If you remember some of our previous videos, this might jog your memory, but we're going to make another data frame, x, y, size, and then text. We're going to have a list and just have the text in that list with the page breaks and everything we want. Is A, B, C, D. Again, we're going to make a scatter plot, pass the data frame, x, y, size, pass it our text, and pass it our text columns and our groups. Finally, we're just going to create random RGB for different colors in a discrete sequence. Essentially what's happening is it's just using each of the lists up here to grab the text, and then it's just going to print it right in the middle of the circle. So it's not going to look super pretty, but you can use some other formatting to make it look better by offsetting it if you want to. We've done that in a previous video. And on hover, we also get that. To get this on hover, we then update the trace. And then with that update, we're going to do hover template and just pass it the text as well. Last but not least, we're going to just do a categorical bubble chart. So you can probably figure out how we're going to do this. Essentially, just take the X and add categories instead of values or integers, and that will create the categories. Set a Y value and set a size. And this is starting to get a bit repetitive, I'm sure. We set X not to X this time. We're setting it to category. Y is going to be the color, and then we're going to give it the discrete sequence of colors that we want to have and show it. And we have a categorical bubble chart. That is it. If you have any questions, comment down below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time.